What if sleep isn't the peaceful escape you believe it to be? What if, instead, it's a vulnerable state where your mind is open to influences beyond your conscious control? During sleep, the ordinary barriers that protect your mind begin to dissolve, blurring the lines between reality and illusion, potentially opening gateways to hidden dimensions. When you close your eyes each night, you're not just resting. You're entering a liminal state where your defenses are lowered, making you more susceptible than you might imagine. It's a time when nightmares can feel overwhelmingly real, when sleep paralysis can trap you in a terrifying waking dream, and when the sense of being visited can leave you questioning the very nature of your reality. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling inexplicably drained, as if something has been siphoning your energy? For millennia, ancient traditions have viewed sleep as more than just a biological necessity. Many cultures saw it as a time for spiritual communication, a journey into other realms, a period where guidance could be sought from the divine. In ancient Egypt and Greece, dream incubation was a common practice, with individuals seeking healing or prophetic insight by sleeping in sacred spaces. But what if these traditions were tapping into something real, something that modern science is only beginning to understand? Emerging research on brain activity during sleep is revealing the potential for external stimuli to influence our dreams and subconscious minds. Studies on targeted dream incubation have shown that specific images or sounds can be introduced into dreams, suggesting that our minds are not entirely isolated during sleep. However, mainstream science often dismisses the subjective experiences of sleep, the vividness of lucid dreaming, the terror of sleep paralysis, focusing instead on sleep disorders and optimizing sleep quality. But is that the whole picture? Most people are unaware of the potential vulnerabilities of their minds during sleep, leaving them open to negative influences they can't even begin to comprehend. This lack of awareness creates a situation where negative energies or unseen entities can potentially manipulate your thoughts, drain your energy, or even implant suggestions directly into your subconscious mind. And the consequences can be far-reaching. Recurring nightmares that replay hidden traumas, sleep paralysis episodes that leave you paralyzed with fear, and a persistent feeling of anxiety or unease that lingers long after you wake up. But here's the thing. Through knowledge and awareness, you can learn to take control of your dream experiences, manage sleep paralysis, and create a more restful and empowering sleep environment. By understanding the dynamics of consciousness during sleep, you can learn to protect yourself from negative influences and harness the power of your subconscious mind for positive change. Understanding the truth about consciousness during sleep is a key step towards unlocking your full potential and creating a more fulfilling reality. In this video, we're going to delve into the hidden world of sleep, uncovering the terrifying truth about what happens to our minds when we're most vulnerable. We'll examine the science behind sleep paralysis, explore the potential of lucid dreaming, interpret the messages hidden within our nightmares, and consider the unsettling possibility that our minds are not entirely our own during sleep. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools and knowledge you need to protect yourself from negative influences, harness the power of your subconscious mind, and create a more restful and empowering sleep experience. So, let's begin our journey into the terrifying truth about consciousness during sleep. What if sleep paralysis isn't just a terrifying experience, but a doorway to something far more profound and potentially unsettling? What if those shadow figures you see aren't hallucinations, but glimpses of entities existing just beyond our everyday perception? For years, sleep paralysis has been dismissed as a mere neurological glitch, a temporary disconnect between your mind and body during REM sleep. But could this explanation be overlooking something crucial? Could these experiences be more than just random misfirings in the brain? Consider the vividness of these episodes. People often report experiencing intense fear, a feeling of being crushed or suffocated, and the terrifying presence of unseen entities. Some describe shadow figures lurking in the corner of the room, while others feel the weight of an old hag sitting on their chest, a phenomenon documented across vastly different cultures and eras. Is it simply our brains creating these monsters, or are we perceiving something that's always been there, hidden just beyond the veil? Is sleep paralysis merely a glitch in brain function, or could it be a glimpse into another reality? Let's explore both the science and the lore surrounding this mysterious phenomenon. Neurologically, sleep paralysis occurs when your brain wakes up during REM sleep, but your body remains paralyzed to prevent you from acting out your dreams. This muscle atonia, combined with the intrusion of dream imagery into waking consciousness, can create the unsettling hallucinations that characterize sleep paralysis. But here's the thing. Science can explain how sleep paralysis happens, but it struggles to explain why these experiences are so consistent across cultures. In Japan, the phenomenon is known as kanashibari, often attributed to malevolent spirits pinning the victim down. In Newfoundland, it's called the old hag, a witch-like figure who sits on your chest and steals your breath. Despite the geographical and cultural differences, the core experience remains strikingly similar: paralysis, fear, and the sense of a sinister presence. What accounts for this consistency? Could these shared experiences point to something beyond mere neurological misfirings? Adding to the mystery are hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations, the vivid visual and auditory experiences that often accompany sleep paralysis. People report seeing shadowy figures, hearing whispers or growls, and feeling phantom touches. These hallucinations are often incredibly realistic, blurring the line between dream and reality. Think about it. If these are just random brain firings, why are they so often terrifying and consistent with folklore about evil entities? The psychological impact of sleep paralysis can be profound. Imagine waking up unable to move, feeling a sinister presence in the room, and struggling to breathe. This can be a deeply traumatizing experience, leading to chronic anxiety, fear of sleep, and a persistent sense of vulnerability. Many sufferers develop elaborate rituals to try to prevent episodes, creating a cycle of fear and avoidance. However, there's another side to this coin. Paradoxically, the very awareness that makes sleep paralysis so terrifying can also be a gateway to lucid dreaming. Once you realize you're paralyzed, you can use that awareness to consciously enter a dream. This offers an opportunity to take control of the experience, confront your fears, and explore the vast landscape of your subconscious mind. If you experience sleep paralysis, remember that the key is to stay calm. Focus on your breath, try to wiggle your fingers and toes, and remind yourself that it will pass. While this is helpful advice, consider that these actions might do more than stimulate your muscles into action. These might be, in a very real way, asserting your will over the dreamscape you're in. With practice, you can learn to manage these episodes and even use them as a launchpad for lucid dreaming. So, we've seen how sleep paralysis can be a window into the unsettling aspects of consciousness during sleep, and at the same time, it can be a doorway to lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming allows you to consciously control your dreams, creating a world where anything is possible. You can use this power to confront your nightmares, explore your creativity, and even heal emotional wounds. But what happens when you become lucid? Are you truly in control, or could there be other forces at play? Is it possible for external entities to influence or even enter our lucid dreams? This is where things get really interesting. Lucid dreaming, the ability to know you're dreaming while you're still in the dream. It sounds like the ultimate freedom, doesn't it? A chance to explore the limitless landscapes of your subconscious, to defy the laws of physics, to become the architect of your own reality. But what if that control is just a cleverly designed illusion? What if the freedom you feel in a lucid dream is simply a more sophisticated form of confinement? The appeal of lucid dreaming is undeniable. Imagine confronting your deepest fears in a safe environment, soaring through the skies without wings, or creating entire worlds with just your thoughts. People use lucid dreaming to overcome phobias, practice public speaking, even rehearse complex surgical procedures. Studies have shown its potential for reducing nightmares, boosting creativity, and enhancing self-awareness. You are seemingly the master of your domain. But here's the thing, is that control real? When you become lucid, are you truly the architect, or are you simply rearranging furniture in a house that someone else built? If you know you're dreaming, are you genuinely in charge? Or are you merely navigating a pre-programmed environment, still subject to forces beyond your conscious awareness? Think about it. Even in the most vivid lucid dream, you're still using your brain, the same brain that operates under the influence of countless subconscious programs and external stimuli during your waking hours. To navigate the dream world, many practitioners suggest using dream signs. Dream signs are recurring elements within your dream's objects, people, places, situations that act as clues, alerting you to the fact that you're dreaming. Encountering a deceased relative, being able to fly, or noticing illogical events can all be dream signs, signaling that what you are experiencing is not real. These can even be impossible objects, like a building where the architecture doesn't make sense. The technique for using dream signs to induce lucidity is straightforward. Keep a dream journal, recording your dreams as soon as you wake up. Identify recurring patterns and unusual elements. Throughout the day, perform reality checks. Ask yourself if you're dreaming and look for evidence to confirm or deny it. For example, try to push your finger through your palm. In a dream, it might go right through. With practice, you'll start to recognize these dream signs within your dreams, triggering lucidity. Intention is also key. Before falling asleep, consciously intend to recognize your dream signs. But here's where it gets unsettling. What if these dream signs aren't organic, springing from your own subconscious? What if some of them are implanted? What if the very triggers you use to achieve lucidity are subtly placed there by external sources, creating the illusion of control while subtly guiding you down a predetermined path? Think about it. If someone wanted to influence your dreams, what better way than to insert a familiar symbol, a recurring image that you've been trained to recognize as a signal of lucidity? Throughout history and across cultures, there are tales of entities that can enter and manipulate the dreams of others. In European folklore, incubi and succubi were said to visit people in their sleep, engaging in sexual activity and draining their energy. In shamanic traditions, dreamwalking is a practice where individuals consciously enter the dreams of others, sometimes for healing, sometimes for more nefarious purposes. Are these just superstitious myths, or do they reflect a deeper, more unsettling reality? Modern science is also exploring the potential for influencing dreams through targeted dream incubation. This involves using external stimuli, sounds, images, smells, even gentle touches to subtly shape the content of dreams. For example, researchers have used auditory cues to trigger specific memories or emotions during sleep, and some are exploring the idea of delivering subliminal messages during sleep. While this technology holds promise for therapeutic applications, such as treating PTSD, it also raises serious ethical concerns. If external stimuli can influence our dreams, is it possible for this research to be used for manipulation and control? But what if the influences are more subtle than sounds and images? What if external entities or energies could influence our lucid dreams without our conscious awareness? Could these influences subtly guide our actions, implant thoughts and emotions, or even create entire scenarios within our dreams? It's a chilling possibility. Is it possible that these entities are energetic and, by subtly guiding our actions, implanting thoughts and emotions within our lucid dreams, seek to alter reality itself? What if they seek to feed off our fear? So, we've explored the double-edged nature of lucid dreaming. We've seen how it can empower you to take control of your dream world, and how that control may not be absolute. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. What about those other, less pleasant nocturnal experiences? What if your nightmares aren't just random occurrences, but urgent messages from your subconscious, trying to alert you to something important that you're ignoring in your waking life. In the next section, we'll delve into the hidden language of nightmares, uncovering the secrets they hold and learning how to use them as a guide for personal growth and transformation. So, we've explored the landscape of lucid dreaming, a world where you might think you are in control. But what if your nightmares, those terrifying and unwelcome guests of the night, aren't simply random bursts of fear and anxiety? What if they are urgent messages, desperate cries from your subconscious, trying to alert you to something vital you're ignoring? Conventional wisdom tells us that nightmares are just bad dreams, the result of stress, anxiety, or a spicy late-night snack. But what if that's a gross oversimplification? What if your subconscious is using the dramatic language of nightmares to communicate something that your conscious mind is unwilling or unable to process? Think of it this way. Your subconscious is like a dedicated messenger trying to deliver a crucial package. If you ignore the gentle knocks, it might start banging on the door, and eventually it might even kick it down. Could your nightmares be holding the key to unlocking your hidden potential and overcoming your greatest challenges? Or are we to ignore the very real possibility of external manipulation? To truly understand the language of nightmares, we need to delve into the Jungian concept of the shadow self. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, believed that we all possess a shadow self, a hidden repository of repressed emotions, disowned traits, and unresolved traumas. This shadow self contains all the aspects of ourselves that we deem unacceptable, the parts we try to hide from the world, and even from ourselves. But these rejected aspects don't simply vanish. They sink into the unconscious, where they can fester and manifest in unexpected ways, often through our dreams and especially our nightmares. Nightmares, therefore, become the stage upon which the shadow self plays out its dramas. Common nightmare themes, like being chased, falling, being trapped, or losing teeth, are often symbolic representations of these repressed emotions and unresolved conflicts. For example, nightmares about being chased could symbolize feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities or pursued by repressed fears. Nightmares about falling might represent a loss of control or a fear of failure. Nightmares about being trapped can symbolize feeling stuck in a situation or relationship. Nightmares about losing teeth could represent a loss of power, a fear of aging, or even suppressed aggression. The key is to examine the dream's symbolism within the context of your own life. What were you feeling or experiencing in the days leading up to the nightmare? What personal associations do you have with the symbols that appeared in the dream? Were you in a lucid dream? Decoding your nightmares isn't just about understanding abstract symbols. It's about connecting those symbols to your personal experiences and emotional states. Start by keeping a dream journal. As soon as you wake up from a nightmare, write down everything you can remember, no matter how fragmented or bizarre it may seem. Then, identify the most striking symbols or images in the dream. What emotions did these symbols evoke? What personal associations do you have with them? What might they represent in your waking life? For instance, if you dream of being attacked by a snake, consider your personal associations with snakes. Do you see them as symbols of danger, deceit, or transformation? What in your current life might be represented by that symbol? By understanding the messages within our nightmares, we can begin to identify and address unresolved issues, integrate the shadow self, and make positive changes in our lives. Integrating your shadow self doesn't mean embracing your negative traits or acting on your destructive impulses. It means acknowledging and accepting those traits as part of yourself, rather than rejecting or suppressing them. It means understanding that everyone has a dark side, and that true wholeness comes from integrating all aspects of ourselves, both light and shadow. It also involves taking responsibility for our actions, rather than projecting our shadow onto others. In practice, this may involve exploring your disowned qualities through journaling, therapy, or creative expression. It may also involve finding healthy ways to express repressed emotions, such as anger or sadness. rather than letting them fester in the unconscious. We've seen how nightmares can be powerful messengers from our subconscious, offering clues to our deepest fears, unresolved traumas, and hidden potential. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. What if our nightmares aren't just internal dramas? What if sleep itself is a vulnerable state, a time when our conscious defenses are lowered, making us more susceptible to external influences? When we sleep, we enter a state of heightened suggestibility. Our conscious mind is less active, and our subconscious mind is more open to external stimuli and influences. This can make us vulnerable to suggestion, manipulation, or even energetic attacks. Think about it. Sleep deprivation has long been used as a torture technique, precisely because it weakens our mental and emotional defenses. Are our minds truly our own during sleep, or could external forces be exploiting our vulnerability to influence our thoughts, emotions, and even our dreams? Are these attacks random or focused? Is it possible for external entities or energies to take advantage of this vulnerability? Could they be planting thoughts or emotions in our minds, or even influencing the content of our dreams without our conscious awareness? In the next section, we will explore some of the documented experiments on suggestibility and consciousness influence. If our minds aren't fully our own during sleep, as we've been exploring, then how vulnerable are we, really? Sleep, often viewed as a passive state of rest, is in fact a period of heightened receptivity, a door left ajar to the subconscious. But what if that door isn't just open to our own inner world? What if it's also open to external influences, energies, and perhaps even manipulations? Think about it. During sleep, the critical thinking and analytical functions of our conscious mind are significantly less active. The gatekeeper is drowsy, if not entirely asleep. This leaves our subconscious mind more susceptible to suggestion and influence. It's like our mental defenses are lowered, making us more vulnerable to energetic attacks or manipulation from external entities. Imagine your mind as a house. During the day, you're vigilant, checking the locks and monitoring the security cameras. But at night, when you're asleep, those defenses are weakened. The doors are unlocked and the windows are open. Now, without proper protection, unwanted energies or influences can potentially enter your mental space. If our conscious defenses are down, who or what is guarding the door to our minds? Could something be slipping in while we're unaware? Historically, sleep deprivation has been used as a brutal torture technique. Why? Because depriving individuals of sleep weakens their mental and physical defenses, making them far more susceptible to manipulation and coercion. Consider the historical accounts of sleep deprivation being used to break down prisoners or extract confessions. The mind, starved of rest, becomes pliable, easily molded to the will of the interrogator. Draw a parallel between this extreme form of manipulation and more subtle forms of influence that could occur during sleep. What if these same principles, used for coercion, are being applied in more subtle ways, perhaps without our conscious knowledge? What if the information being fed is even more damaging? Esoteric traditions speak of energetic attacks during sleep, of entities or energies that can feed on our life force or influence our thoughts and emotions. Reference the succubi and incubi myths, those nocturnal visitors who were said to drain energy and plant seductive thoughts. These aren't necessarily literal interpretations, but symbolic representations of negative influences that can prey on our vulnerability during sleep. These influences can be both internal, such as unresolved emotional issues, and external, such as negative energies from our environment. Many modern issues exacerbate these vulnerabilities. The constant stress of modern life, the bombardment of information, and the pervasive presence of electromagnetic fields all contribute to poor sleep quality and increased subconscious receptivity. The blue light emitted from our screens disrupts melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Electromagnetic fields from our devices may also interfere with our brainwaves, further weakening our mental defenses. Is it possible that technology and modern life might be used to exert undue influence on populations via technologies during sleep. So, how do we protect ourselves? The key is to create a safe and protective sleep environment. Start by clearing your bedroom of electronic devices. Designate your bedroom as a sanctuary, a place free from the stresses and distractions of the outside world. Use blackout curtains to block out light pollution, creating a dark and restful space. Consider smudging the space with sage or other protective herbs. The scent can clear negative energies and promote relaxation. Establish a relaxing bedtime routine to wind down before sleep. Take a warm bath, read a book, or listen to calming music. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. These habits signal to your brain that it's time to sleep, promoting a deeper and more restful slumber. It's also crucial to strengthen our mental and energetic defenses. Practicing mindfulness, meditation, and visualization can help us create stronger boundaries and protect ourselves from negative influences. Before you go to sleep, visualize a protective shield around yourself, deflecting negative energies and allowing only positive influences to enter. Affirmations or prayers for protection and guidance during the night can also be incredibly powerful. State your intention for the night. You might say, "I intend to have peaceful and restful sleep. I intend to be protected from all negative influences. I intend to remember my dreams and gain valuable insights from them." Remember, your intention is a powerful force. We've explored how our minds are more open to external influences during sleep, making it essential to take proactive steps to create a safe and supportive sleep environment. But what if the influences aren't just energetic or spiritual? What if specific technologies exist that may have the capability to monitor and even influence our brain activity while we sleep? This is where things get even more unsettling. Is it possible to send subliminal messages to a sleeping brain? What if dreams could be directed in an extremely focused and purposeful way? In the next section, we'll delve into the world of targeted dream incubation and subliminal messaging, exploring the potential for these technologies to be used for both therapeutic and manipulative purposes. We've explored how our minds are more open to external influences during sleep, making it essential to take proactive steps to create a safe and supportive sleep environment. But what if the influences aren't just energetic or spiritual? What if specific technologies exist that may have the capability to monitor and even influence our brain activity while we sleep? This is where things get even more unsettling. Is it possible to send subliminal messages to a sleeping brain? What if dreams could be directed in an extremely focused and purposeful way? Imagine a world where your dreams aren't your own, where the narratives playing out in your mind are carefully constructed by external forces. Dreams, traditionally seen as the ultimate expression of our subconscious, private and personal. But what if that perception is being challenged? Targeted dream incubation is the technology that could directly influence your dreams, challenging the notion that they're solely internal experiences. Think about it. We spend a third of our lives asleep, minds vulnerable and receptive. What better opportunity to plant a seed, influence a behavior, or even shape a belief? Most people are unaware that such technology exists. It challenges everything we thought to be true about dreaming. Are our dreams becoming a new frontier for external manipulation? Are our thoughts truly our own, even when we sleep? Consider subliminal messaging delivered during sleep. Audio is one of the easiest ways to access the mind while asleep. What is easier than hearing a message? It's slid right in. While our conscious minds are resting, our subconscious minds are still actively processing information. This makes us susceptible to suggestions and commands delivered below the level of conscious awareness. Imagine being bombarded with positive affirmations, self-help messages, or even product endorsements while you sleep. Sounds harmless, right? But what if those messages are designed to manipulate your behavior or influence your purchasing decisions? What if they are more sinister than that? What if nefarious groups are using this tech? The implications are staggering. Subliminal messaging during sleep could be used to reinforce existing beliefs, instill new ones, or even trigger specific actions. Are we sleepwalking through a pre-programmed reality, unaware of the subtle nudges shaping our thoughts and behaviors? Are we being manipulated, and is our autonomy eroding one dream at a time? But is this just a far-fetched fantasy, a plotline ripped from a science fiction film? Or is there a scientific basis for these unsettling possibilities? The research suggests that targeted dream incubation isn't just theoretical. Studies have shown that external stimuli, such as sounds or images, can indeed influence dream content. Think about it. Researchers have been able to introduce specific themes or elements into people's dreams by exposing them to related stimuli before or during sleep. For example, sounds associated with a particular object or scenario can increase the likelihood of that object or scenario appearing in a dream. The point is, sleep studies have provided real scientific backing to these theories. And if simple external stimuli can influence our dreams, what about more sophisticated technologies designed to precisely target and manipulate brain activity during sleep? The thought is chilling, but not without evidence. The truth is, we need to address both the science and the dark possibilities. But here's the thing. Even if the science is sound, are we really ready to accept a world where our dreams can be bought, sold, or manipulated? The ethical concerns surrounding subliminal messaging are profound. The use of subliminal messaging without consent is a form of mind control and a violation of human rights. Imagine if companies could subtly influence our purchasing decisions while we sleep, leading us to buy products we don't need or even want. What if political organizations could use subliminal messaging to sway our opinions or manipulate our voting behavior? Where would it end? Even more disturbing is the idea that governments or corporations might be exploring mind control technologies. While there's no concrete evidence, it's not unreasonable to suggest that some governments or corporations may be exploring these technologies for their own purposes. Consider the historical examples of governments conducting secret experiments on their own citizens. Consider that nefarious groups are working with this tech, but be clear it's only a possibility. Is it so far-fetched to imagine that some entities might be interested in using sleep as a new frontier for psychological warfare? Have you ever noticed how ads seem to appear in your dreams after you've been exposed to them during the day? Is this a coincidence, or is something more subtle at play? What if the algorithms that curate our social media feeds are also subtly influencing our dreams, shaping our perceptions, and reinforcing our biases? Think about the sheer amount of information we consume on a daily basis. Are we really in control of our minds, or are we simply puppets dancing to the tune of targeted advertising and social media algorithms? How do we protect ourselves from this subtle onslaught of technological influence? The key is awareness. The first step is recognizing the potential for manipulation and understanding how these technologies work. Once we're aware of the threat, we can take steps to safeguard our minds and reclaim our freedom of thought. Start by limiting your exposure to screens before bed. The blue light emitted from our devices can disrupt melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Practice mindfulness and meditation to strengthen your mental defenses. Mindfulness can help you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, making it easier to identify and resist external influences. Question the messages you receive from the media. Don't blindly accept what you're told by governments or corporations. Do your own research, question everything, and form your own conclusions. Don't be afraid to challenge authority. The power is in your hands. By understanding how these technologies work, you can take steps to safeguard your mind and reclaim your freedom of thought. The first step in protecting yourself is being aware of the potential threat. We've seen how technology can be used to influence our dreams and subconscious minds. Now, let's delve even deeper into the rabbit hole. We've talked about the use of this tech as a possibility. What are the realities of this? What do we know for sure? Is there even more hidden? In the next section, we'll we'll uncover some of the most disturbing declassified government programs related to mind control, revealing the shocking extent to which our minds have been targeted without our knowledge. What if the government has been experimenting with your mind while you sleep? Most people assume government mind control experiments happen when they are awake. But what if some of the most intrusive ones occur when we are most vulnerable asleep? Think about it. Our defenses are down, our conscious minds are resting, and our subconscious is open to suggestion. Is it possible that our dreams are being used against us? That our minds are being manipulated in ways we can't even imagine? Is this science fiction, or is it a terrifying reality? Declassified documents reveal that governments have, in fact, explored the possibility of influencing the sleeping mind. It's not just conspiracy theories. There are actual documented experiments related to sleep, the subconscious, and targeted influence, even if the full impact of these programs is debated. The reality is that governments have engaged in mind control experiments, some of them specifically targeting the sleeping mind. But what was the true intention of these experiments? Were they purely for research purposes, or were they intended to be used for more nefarious purposes? Were these attempts successful? If there was success, is the tech still in use? But here's the thing. It's easy to dismiss government mind control as science fiction or the realm of conspiracy theorists. But what if some of the seemingly outlandish conspiracy theories have a basis in real, declassified government research? Is it possible to determine the true intention of these experiments, or are we only seeing a carefully curated version of the truth? If true, it begs the question, how far have these experiments gone, and what are the potential implications for our freedom of thought and autonomy? Is it possible that some of our deepest fears and anxieties are not our own, but rather the result of external manipulation? Consider Project MKUltra, a wide-ranging, covert research program that explored various methods of mind control, including some that involved sleep. MKUltra's goals were to develop techniques for interrogation, coercion, and behavior modification. But what if some of those techniques involved targeting the sleeping mind, planting suggestions, and manipulating dreams? What if the intention was not just to control individuals, but to control entire populations? How many MKUltra subprojects involved sleep? Did any of them yield meaningful results? One specific MKUltra subproject 94, focused on using hypnosis to create amnesia and false memories. Now imagine this. What if they used hypnosis to not only create false memories, but also to implant suggestions and manipulate beliefs during sleep? The possibilities are terrifying. If they could erase memories, what else could they do? Think about it. If they could control what we remember, they could control our entire reality. The ethical implications of such experiments are staggering. The potential for abuse is immense. Did any of the test subjects ever recover from these experiments? Or were they forever changed, their minds forever altered? What about the ethical violations and the potential for long-term psychological damage? The individuals who were subjected to MKUltra experiments without their consent experienced lasting trauma. Their lives were shattered, their minds forever scarred. But what if the true extent of the damage is even greater than we know? What if the effects of MKUltra are still being felt today, influencing our society in ways we can't even comprehend? The truth is, MKUltra is just one example of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface. What other secrets are governments hiding from us, and what other experiments are they conducting in the shadows? But here's where it gets even more unsettling. What if the technology has advanced far beyond what we know from MKUltra? Consider the concept of psychotronic weapons and their potential to influence brain activity. These weapons could potentially be used during sleep to influence dream content. The potential is there for low-frequency electromagnetic waves to affect brain waves and alter emotional states. It has been hypothesized that this tech could be used to target specific individuals or even entire populations. Now, imagine a world where governments can use subliminal messaging during sleep to influence behavior. They can use audio during sleep, combined with this tech, to change the population in a subtle way that they wouldn't even realize is happening. What if this technology is already being used, shaping our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors without our conscious awareness? The implications are staggering. It is also important to remind viewers to question everything they read and to conduct their own research. While we may never know the full extent of government experimentation on the human mind, it's essential to remain skeptical and to think for ourselves. Don't blindly accept official narratives. Do your own research and draw your own conclusions. Question everything, challenge authority, and demand transparency. The power is in your hands to protect your mind and reclaim your freedom of thought. What are your thoughts? We've seen how declassified documents reveal that governments have engaged in mind control. While the full extent of these programs may never be known, it's essential to be aware of the potential for manipulation. We have to understand these things to have a proper defense, but that doesn't mean everything is known. This begs a question. How will the vulnerability that's been discussed to this point be impacted by quantum entanglement in the future? Quantum entanglement may make it easier to influence things, but what if it will be used during sleep in the future? This is already a complex subject, and quantum entanglement makes it that much more complex. What if quantum entanglement becomes the next frontier in mind control, allowing governments to remotely influence our thoughts and dreams with unprecedented precision? So, what can we do to protect ourselves from potential mind control? How can we reclaim our power and ensure that our minds remain our own? These are the questions we'll explore in our next video, as we delve into the specific steps you can take to safeguard your subconscious mind and wake up to the truth. We've seen how declassified documents reveal that governments have engaged in mind control experiments. But what if the techniques used in these experiments were about to get an upgrade? What if quantum entanglement opens up new possibilities for influencing the sleeping mind, possibilities we can barely imagine? Imagine a future where our dreams become a battleground for control, where our very thoughts are no longer our own. Consider the brain. Most people understand the brain as a complex network of neurons, neurotransmitters, and electrical signals. But what if there's more to it than that? What if quantum mechanics plays a crucial role in consciousness and brain function? Some researchers believe that quantum entanglement could connect different parts of the brain, allowing for instantaneous communication across vast distances. If this is true, it could revolutionize our understanding of how the brain works. But what if it also creates new avenues for external influence? What if quantum entanglement connects everything? Could it also connect our sleeping minds to external influences in ways we never imagined? To understand this, we need to delve into the science of quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is a phenomenon where two particles become linked in such a way that they share the same fate, no matter how far apart they are. This means that if you measure the properties of one particle, you instantly know the properties of the other, even if they're light years away. Einstein famously called this spooky action at a distance. But what does this have to do with our minds? Here's where it gets interesting. Some researchers have proposed that quantum entanglement could be used to influence brain activity. They suggest that it might be possible to transfer information or energy between brains, potentially creating new forms of communication or even mind control. Imagine being able to send thoughts directly into someone else's mind, bypassing their conscious awareness. While this is still highly theoretical, these ideas are being explored in theoretical physics. But what if quantum computers get involved? Quantum computers, with their ability to process vast amounts of data and perform complex calculations, could potentially be used to decode brainwaves and identify patterns that could be manipulated, especially when someone is sleeping. What was once science fiction could become a reality. But this raises some profound ethical questions. Who gets to decide how this technology is used? What safeguards can be put in place to protect individual freedom and autonomy? The use of quantum entanglement for mind control has some serious ethical implications. What if this technology falls into the wrong hands? What if it's used to manipulate entire populations, turning them into mindless drones? It sounds like a sci-fi movie, but the potential for abuse is very real. Consider the idea of quantum hacking. What if entanglement makes it possible to more easily hack into the mind of a sleeping person, to influence them more easily? The possibilities are terrifying. Imagine someone remotely accessing your dreams, planting suggestions, and manipulating your beliefs while you sleep. You wouldn't even know it was happening. Your mind would be a puppet, dancing to someone else's tune. The ethical implications of this are staggering. The potential for misuse is immense. We must establish clear ethical guidelines for the development and use of quantum technologies, ensuring that they are used for the benefit of humanity and not for purposes of control or manipulation. Are you willing to let your mind be hacked while you sleep? What can we do? So, we've explored how quantum entanglement could potentially be used to influence our dreams and subconscious minds, raising the unsettling possibility of a new era of mind control. But here's the thing, this is just the beginning. What if there are other technologies out there that could be used to manipulate our minds during sleep? What if the government is already using these technologies without our knowledge or consent? Now that we've explored the potential threats, what can we do to protect ourselves? How can we start to wake up? We'll discuss taking actions to maintain your subconscious and wake up in the next video. In our next video, we'll delve into the specific steps you can take to safeguard your subconscious mind and reclaim your freedom of thought. By understanding the threats and taking proactive measures, you can protect your sleep and your mind from unwanted influences. Stay tuned to find out how to reclaim your sleep. What if your dreams aren't just random images flashing across your mind? What if they're carefully curated experiences, hand-picked by your subconscious? It sounds like science fiction, but the truth about your sleeping mind is far stranger than you might think. Your subconscious is a gatekeeper, filtering a vast ocean of potential realities. When you drift off to sleep, that gatekeeper doesn't just vanish. It becomes even more active. From countless possible dream scenarios, your subconscious chooses the ones you experience each night. But what criteria is it using? Is it protecting you from something or hiding something from you? Think about it. Every bizarre, terrifying, or exhilarating dream you've ever had was, in a sense, selected for you. This selection process is closely tied to the concept of reality tunnels, a term coined by Timothy Leary. Reality tunnels are your unique, subjective realities, shaped by your beliefs, experiences, and expectations. Your subconscious acts like a lens, filtering sensory information to create a personalized version of the world. In waking life, this filtering is subtle, shaping your perceptions and biases. But during sleep, the filters become far more pronounced, crafting entire dream worlds tailored to your subconscious landscape. Consider, for instance, the experience of watching a scary movie before bed. What happens? Your subconscious has an increased chance of selecting a nightmare after watching the scary movie. If our subconscious is actively selecting our dream experiences, what factors influence its choices? Are these choices based on our conscious desires, our hidden fears, or something else entirely? Is it possible to manipulate this selection process? The answers might terrify you. To understand how your subconscious filters realities, we need to delve into the neurological processes involved in dream formation. Dream formation isn't a random event. It's a complex symphony of brain regions and neurochemicals working in concert. The amygdala, the brain's emotional center, plays a key role in shaping the emotional tone of your dreams. The hippocampus, responsible for memory consolidation, weaves past experiences into dream narratives, and the prefrontal cortex, the seat of executive function, attempts to make sense of it all, creating a coherent, or sometimes incoherent, storyline. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine also exert a powerful influence, affecting dream vividness, emotional intensity, and even the types of scenarios that unfold. A lack of serotonin, for instance, can lead to more frequent and disturbing nightmares, and trauma responses also affect brain activity, even while sleeping. Trauma causes hypervigilance, an elevated state of alertness that can manifest in sleep as intense dreams or nightmares. The subconscious and brain are working overtime to protect you and may even be creating patterns, like recurring nightmares, as a way to process or prepare for perceived threats. You might have heard of conscious reality creation techniques, such as affirmations, visualizations, and intention setting. These techniques are effective for influencing your waking reality. But what happens when your conscious desires clash with your subconscious programming? While conscious reality creation techniques can be effective, they may be limited by the power of our subconscious beliefs and patterns. Your subconscious may override conscious desires. The key is to understand what beliefs are being expressed in your dreams. One of the most telling ways your subconscious expresses itself is through nightmares. Nightmares are more than just random bursts of fear. They're often reflections of subconscious fears and anxieties. Recurring nightmares, in particular, may reveal unresolved issues or hidden traumas that your subconscious is trying to bring to your attention. The subconscious is like a therapist that never sleeps. Consider common nightmare themes. Being chased often represents feeling overwhelmed or threatened in waking life. Falling symbolizes a loss of control or a fear of failure. Being trapped can indicate feeling stuck or restricted in a situation. All of those nightmare themes may point to subconscious trauma that needs to be addressed. Lucid dreaming might offer a way to consciously interact with the subconscious mind and influence its reality selection process. If you become lucid in a dream, can you consciously choose to alter the dream scenario? Can you use lucid dreaming to confront your fears and reprogram your subconscious beliefs? The answer, in short, is yes, but it takes practice. If you can master control of your dreamscape, you can resolve a lot of inner conflict. Here's how you can begin to explore your subconscious mind and identify limiting beliefs. Start by keeping a dream journal. Write down your dreams as soon as you wake up, paying attention to recurring themes, symbols, and emotions. Explore your childhood experiences and identify any traumatic events or negative messages that may have shaped your subconscious beliefs. Look for recurring patterns in your life. Practices such as shadow work can also be beneficial. Shadow work is the process of exploring the hidden or repressed aspects of your personality, which are often revealed in dreams and nightmares. Try writing affirmations to counter negative beliefs. If you believe you aren't good enough, repeat to yourself that you are good enough. We've seen how our subconscious minds aren't just passive recipients of dream imagery, but active selectors, shaping our dream experiences based on a complex interplay of emotions, beliefs, and past experiences. But here's the truth. Your subconscious is actively filtering realities during sleep, which means you are subconsciously choosing realities without knowing it. Revelation 1: that is all very interesting, but what if someone else wanted to see what makes you tick? The data held in the subconscious would be extremely valuable. What if technology were able to tap into the subconscious and understand, from dream data, what people thought or felt? The possibilities of manipulating that information would be endless. The next section will touch on that. But what if these external influences aren't just energetic or psychological? What if there are technologies and government programs designed to manipulate our subconscious minds while we sleep? This is where things get truly unsettling as we delve into the hidden world of technological mind control. We'll explore specific technologies and government programs that may be related to mind control, emphasizing the importance of reclaiming control over our subconscious minds. What awaits is a world beyond comprehension. What if the sterile environment of a sleep lab is about more than just diagnosing sleep apnea? What if, behind the facade of medical research, lies a deeper exploration into the very nature of consciousness itself? Most people think of sleep labs as diagnostic centers, places to pinpoint the causes of insomnia or restless leg syndrome. But have you ever considered the possibility that they might also be places for in-depth observation, where the sleeping mind is probed and analyzed in ways we can only begin to imagine? Is there an increased level of research with the technology now available? The history of sleep labs offers a fascinating glimpse into our evolving understanding of sleep. It began with the pioneering work of researchers like Hans Berger, who developed the electroencephalogram, EEG, in the 1920s, allowing us to see brain activity for the first time. His invention paved the way for the discovery of different sleep stages, each characterized by unique brainwave patterns that correspond to different levels of consciousness. Modern polysomnography takes this a step further, monitoring a range of physiological parameters, from brain activity and eye movements to heart rate and muscle tone. But here's the thing. While these technologies are invaluable for diagnosing sleep disorders, what else might they reveal about the sleeping mind? What other kinds of research have been conducted in sleep labs, and what are the ethical implications? While sleep labs are primarily used for diagnosing and treating sleep disorders, what else goes on behind closed doors? Have researchers explored the potential for influencing or manipulating the sleeping mind in these controlled environments? Are there any ethical boundaries that have been crossed? How exactly do these sleep monitoring technologies work, and what are their capabilities? EEG measures brainwave activity by placing electrodes on the scalp, detecting the electrical impulses generated by neurons firing in the brain. These brainwaves are categorized into different frequencies, such as delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma, each associated with different states of consciousness. For example, slow delta waves are dominant during deep sleep, while faster beta waves are characteristic of wakefulness and mental activity. Other neuroimaging techniques, such as functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, can provide more detailed insights into brain function during sleep by measuring changes in blood flow. All of this data paints a vivid picture of the sleeping brain at work. However, all of this monitoring cannot determine what someone is thinking or what images they see when dreaming. Could this data be used to determine dream content? But what if scientists could decode our dreams from our brain activity? What does this mean for our privacy? Could our dreams be used against us in some way? Could this information be used for targeted advertising, propaganda, or even mind control? The potential for misuse is undeniable. Imagine a world where corporations could bombard your sleeping mind with subliminal messages, shaping your desires and influencing your purchasing decisions without your conscious awareness. Or consider the possibility of governments using dream manipulation techniques to control populations or suppress dissent. The ethical implications are staggering. Targeted dream incubation is not just a theoretical concept. It's a technology that is being actively explored in sleep labs. Researchers have shown that it's possible to influence dream content by presenting specific stimuli during sleep, such as associating certain sounds with specific images or emotions. What if external stimuli, such as sounds or images, can be used to influence dream content in a controlled environment? What if someone could insert a false memory by associating the memory with an image or a sound? What if the test subject then acted upon those false memories? Targeted dream incubation is not just a theoretical concept. It's a technology that is being actively explored in sleep labs. Researchers have shown that it's possible to influence dream content by presenting specific stimuli during sleep, such as associating certain sounds with specific images or emotions. Subliminal messaging during sleep is another area of research that raises ethical concerns. Studies have shown that it's possible to influence behavior by presenting subliminal messages during sleep, such as encouraging people to quit smoking or lose weight. But what else can be done with this technology? Could it be used to implant beliefs, manipulate emotions, or even control actions? Given what has already been declassified, is it possible that these technologies are already being used on an unknowing population? Think about it. If governments are willing to conduct experiments on their own citizens in the name of national security, what other covert operations might be underway? We've seen how sleep labs, while intended for research, can potentially be used to influence our thoughts and dreams without our conscious knowledge. This raises the unsettling question of how we can protect ourselves from these influences. This is where it gets really interesting. There is good news. The ability to monitor sleep comes from quantum entanglement. This theory also opens the door to solutions. There are ways to become more aware, but first it's important to understand more about the external entities that could be influencing you, the content of which will be in the next video. In our next video, we'll delve into the specific steps you can take to safeguard your subconscious mind and reclaim your freedom of thought. By understanding the threats and taking proactive measures, you can protect your sleep and your mind from unwanted influences. What if the forces that influence your thoughts and dreams aren't just internal? What if there are unseen architects shaping your reality, even as you sleep? The idea might sound like science fiction, but ancient texts and esoteric traditions have long spoken of entities that seek to control humanity, subtly influencing our perceptions and emotions. These unseen architects are sometimes referred to as archons, a term derived from Gnostic cosmology. The Gnostics, early Christian mystics who challenged the mainstream religious doctrines, believed that the archons were powerful, malevolent beings who created a false reality to keep humanity trapped in a state of ignorance and suffering. These texts, such as the Nag Hammadi, describe the archons as deceptive entities that manipulate human perceptions, creating illusions and fostering negative emotions like fear, anxiety, and greed. They're said to thrive off of human emotional energy, like psychic vampires feeding on our life force. Think about it. How many times have you felt inexplicably drained after being in certain environments or around certain people? But here's the crucial question. Are the archons a literal representation of external entities, or are they simply a metaphor for negative thought forms and subconscious patterns within our own minds? Is it possible that they're both? Perhaps the archons represent a real force in the universe, but their power is amplified by our own internal negativity. Or maybe they are generated by our negative thoughts and become external entities in our subconscious. Are they actual beings that exist independently of us, or are they simply personifications of our own fears, anxieties, and limiting beliefs? The concept of archons might seem far-fetched, but echoes of this idea can be found in more modern concepts. Consider negative thought forms. Our thoughts and emotions have energy, and repeated negative thoughts can solidify into energetic entities that influence our behavior and attract negative experiences. These thought forms can become like parasites, feeding on our attention and perpetuating cycles of negativity. Have you ever noticed how a single negative thought can spiral into a cascade of negative emotions and self-defeating behaviors? Then there's the concept of energetic vampirism. Some people or situations can drain our energy, leaving us feeling depleted and exhausted. This can happen consciously or unconsciously. A toxic person might constantly complain or criticize, draining your emotional reserves. Chronic stress can also act as an energetic vampire, depleting your vital force and leaving you vulnerable to illness and negativity. It's as if these people and entities are leeches, feeding off your positive emotions and life force, leaving you feeling hollowed out and weak. Do you know people like this? And then there's the visited by archetype, a recurring theme throughout different cultures and spiritual traditions. For centuries, people have reported encounters with entities during sleep, experiences that defy easy explanation. Consider the incubus and succubus myths from Europe, where demonic entities were said to visit people in their sleep and engage in sexual activity. Compare that to the modern-day phenomenon of sleep paralysis demons, shadowy figures that appear during sleep paralysis, inducing fear and terror. Is it all just hallucination, or is something else going on? Is there a connection between these ancient myths and contemporary experiences? But here's the thing. These accounts, while unsettling, point to a profound vulnerability we experience during sleep. Our defenses are lowered, our conscious minds are less active, and we may be more susceptible to external influences, whatever form they may take. Interestingly, some people claim that these encounters get more common during difficult times, as if our weakened state attracts unwanted attention. So, how do you shield your mind from these influences? The key is to take proactive steps to protect your mental and energetic boundaries. One powerful technique is visualization. Before you go to sleep, imagine a protective shield of light surrounding you, deflecting any negative energy or unwanted influences. You can also use crystals or talismans for protection, placing them near your bed or wearing them as jewelry. Crystals like amethyst, black tourmaline, and selenite are believed to have protective properties that can ward off negative energies. Think of it like creating a force field around yourself, a barrier that prevents unwanted intrusions. Cleansing your energy field is also essential. Practices like smudging with sage or other purifying herbs can help to clear away any negative energy that may have accumulated. You can also take salt baths or use essential oils like lavender or rosemary to cleanse and purify your energy field. It's like taking a spiritual shower, washing away any grime or negativity that may be clinging to you. What rituals do you currently use to cleanse your mind? But beyond these external techniques, the most important thing is to cultivate positive emotions and thoughts. When you focus on love, gratitude, joy, and compassion, you raise your vibration and become less susceptible to negative influences. Practices like gratitude journaling, loving kindness meditation, and engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment can help to cultivate a positive mindset. Use those emotions to reclaim the power these entities are trying to siphon away from you. By intentionally directing your thoughts and emotions, you can take back control of your mental and energetic space. The key is to cultivate positive emotions and thoughts. Above all, remember the power of intention and conscious awareness. By setting clear intentions for our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we can create a stronger sense of self-awareness and prevent negative influences from taking root. Be mindful of the thoughts and emotions that you're allowing into your consciousness. If something feels off, trust your intuition and take steps to protect yourself. It's like being a vigilant gatekeeper, carefully guarding the entrance to your mind. What intentions can you set right now? So, we've explored the possibility that external entities or negative thought forms can influence our thoughts and dreams during sleep. This is, understandably, terrifying, but it doesn't have to be something to fear. It is time to be brave. The good news is that you have the power to protect yourself. By understanding the potential threats and taking proactive measures, you can reclaim control over your subconscious mind and create a more restful and empowering sleep experience. To do this, you must maintain awareness of your subconscious. Steps that will allow you to do this will allow you to wake up during sleep. But we're just scratching the surface of how to make that happen. Now that we've explored the potential threats, what specific steps can we take to protect ourselves and reclaim our power? In our next video, we'll delve into actionable techniques for safeguarding your subconscious mind and creating a more restful and empowering sleep experience. Get ready to wake up from the dream and take control of your reality. What if the line between your dreams and waking life wasn't as clear as you thought? What if the moment you believe you've woken up is just another layer of the dream? We trust our senses to tell us what's real, but what happens when those senses are being manipulated, even as we believe we're fully awake? Are you truly awake right now? Consider the experience of a false awakening. You might dream you're waking up in your bed, going through your morning routine. Everything seems normal, but subtly off. The clock might show a strange time, objects might be slightly out of place, or the light outside your window seems unnatural. You might pour yourself a cup of coffee, only to find it tastes like ash. It's an unsettling feeling because you think you're awake, but something is undeniably wrong. The familiarity of your surroundings is tainted by an undercurrent of the bizarre. But how can you be sure that this very moment isn't just another false awakening? Is there a way to know for sure if what you perceive is accurate or a cleverly crafted illusion? If we can dream of waking up, can we truly trust our perception of reality? The nature of reality itself comes into question. We rely on our senses to give us information about the world around us. But if those senses can be deceived within a dream, what's to say they can't be deceived in our waking lives? What if our entire reality is a construct of our minds, or even worse, a construct imposed upon us by something external? Think about it. How much of what you perceive is filtered through your own beliefs, expectations, and biases? Is there a way to know what's real beyond our subjective experience? What if false awakenings aren't simply a trick of the mind, but a glimpse behind the curtain, revealing the malleable nature of what we call reality? But here's where it gets truly unsettling. Is it possible that some false awakenings are not random glitches in our brain, but orchestrated events? Could external entities be using these false awakenings to gain access to our minds, to plant thoughts, steal energy, or gather information without our conscious knowledge? Imagine that you are a building, and these entities are burglars, slipping into your house when you are asleep. Some believe these aren't simple intrusions, but carefully constructed scenarios designed to exploit our vulnerabilities. Could this explain the feeling of dread and paranoia that often accompanies false awakenings? Are these entities the reason why our reality seems off? To understand this bizarre phenomenon, we need to delve into both the science and the lore surrounding false awakenings. Neuroscience offers one perspective, while esoteric traditions offer another. What happens in our brains when we experience a false awakening? Neuroscience suggests that false awakenings may occur when there is a disconnect between different brain regions involved in sleep and wakefulness. The brain may partially awaken while still remaining in a dream state, creating the illusion of being awake. During sleep, our brains cycle through different stages, each characterized by distinct patterns of brain activity. False awakenings may occur when the brain transitions erratically between these stages, causing a blurring of the lines between dreaming and wakefulness. Imagine a radio signal getting crossed, creating a strange and distorted version of reality. Research is still being done on false awakenings, but neuroscience offers a scientific basis for understanding this strange phenomenon. However, some esoteric traditions view false awakenings as something far more profound, a gateway to other realms or dimensions. They may interpret these experiences as encounters with spirits, guides, or other entities that exist beyond our ordinary perception. Perhaps these entities are even trying to offer a message, or perhaps they have more sinister intentions. Shamanic traditions, for example, often speak of dream journeys where the soul leaves the body and travels to other realms. False awakenings could be interpreted as a kind of misfire in this process, a moment where the soul is caught between worlds. Is it possible that these experiences are not simply internal events, but interactions with something external to ourselves? Many people who experience false awakenings report a sense of unease, paranoia, or even terror. They may feel like they are being observed or manipulated by something beyond their comprehension. This could be a sign of external influence, but could be just as likely a sign of something else. They report shadow figures at the end of their beds, whispers in their ears, or the feeling of being paralyzed and unable to move. These experiences can be incredibly frightening, leaving people questioning their sanity and their sense of reality. To combat this disorienting phenomenon, you need reliable tools to distinguish dreams from reality. Reality testing techniques can help you verify your state of consciousness. The key is mindful awareness. Reality testing involves performing simple actions that are difficult or impossible to do in a dream. These include trying to push your finger through your palm, looking at a clock twice to see if the time changes, or checking whether you can breathe with your nose pinched shut. In a dream, these tests will often fail. Your finger might pass through your hand, the time on the clock might shift erratically, or you might be able to breathe even with your nose pinched. The problem is, you must remember to be aware, or these tests may not work. If you go through the motions without truly paying attention, your mind might simply create a false confirmation, reinforcing the illusion that you're awake. Think of it like trying to find your way out of a maze while blindfolded. Unless you're fully present and aware of your surroundings, you're likely to get lost. But the key to successful reality testing is to be fully present and engaged in the moment. Pay attention to your surroundings, your thoughts, and your emotions. If something feels off, don't dismiss it. Instead, use your critical thinking skills to question what's happening and determine whether you are truly awake. It's about cultivating a state of heightened awareness, a kind of mental alertness that allows you to detect inconsistencies and anomalies in your environment. Imagine yourself as a detective, carefully examining the clues and piecing together the truth. While dreams can be valuable sources of insight and guidance, it's important to remember that they are not always reliable. Before making any major decisions based on your dreams, take the time to analyze them critically and seek external validation. What seems clear in a dream may be distorted or misleading in reality. Have you ever woken up from a dream convinced that you knew the winning lottery numbers, only to realize that it was just a fleeting illusion? Dreams can be powerful, but they should be approached with a healthy dose of skepticism. We've seen how false awakenings can be disorienting and unsettling experiences, potentially opening the door to external influence and manipulation. Remember how you must question reality, but that is just the beginning. If external entities can induce false awakenings, is it possible for them to manipulate our dreams in other ways? Could they be planting thoughts, altering our emotions, or even controlling our actions while we are asleep? This is where things get even more disturbing. In our next video, we'll uncover the specific techniques used to manipulate dreams and explore the strategies you can use to protect your mind from unwanted influences. Get ready to delve even deeper into the terrifying truth about consciousness during sleep. What if your dreams aren't your own private sanctuary, but a stage where someone else is directing the play? What if the thoughts and feelings you experience in your sleep are carefully implanted suggestions, subtly nudging you towards actions you wouldn't normally consider? Is it possible that your subconscious mind is being hijacked, turned into a puppet controlled by unseen strings? Our dreams are often seen as a reflection of our innermost selves, a space where our subconscious can roam free from the constraints of waking life. We assume that our dreams are a product of our own minds, shaped by our experiences, fears, and desires. But what if this assumption is wrong? What if external forces can penetrate the veil of sleep and manipulate our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors while we're at our most vulnerable? Think about it. We close our eyes, silence our conscious minds, and drift into a realm where logic and reason no longer hold sway. Is this vulnerability an open invitation for manipulation? Is the potential for dream control the ultimate violation of privacy? The concept of dream manipulation raises profound ethical questions about mental autonomy and free will. If someone can control your dreams, can they also control your thoughts and actions in waking life? Is it possible to be subtly programmed while you sleep, unknowingly carrying out someone else's agenda? Imagine waking up with a strange compulsion, a sudden urge to do something you wouldn't normally do. Where did that urge come from? Was it a product of your own mind, or was it implanted during a dream? Can we truly claim to be free if our minds can be manipulated without our knowledge or consent? This isn't about simple influence. It's about the potential for complete control. If our dreams are vulnerable to external manipulation, how can we possibly defend ourselves? Is there a way to detect the telltale signs of intrusion, to identify the subtle cues that reveal someone else is pulling the strings? Or are we all destined to be puppets in someone else's dream, unknowingly acting out a script we didn't write? The key is awareness. But here's the thing. Being aware that it could happen is the first and most critical step. So, how do these puppet masters operate? What techniques do they use to infiltrate our subconscious minds and rewrite our dreams? Dreamjacking is a disturbing concept, the idea that our dreams can be infiltrated and manipulated by external entities or energies. But what does this actually look like? How could someone or something enter our minds while we sleep and alter the very fabric of our dreamscape? Think of your dream as a movie, and a dreamjacker as a rogue editor, splicing in new scenes, replacing actors, and changing the dialogue without your permission. Dreamjacking could involve subtle alterations to the dream environment, creating feelings of unease or anxiety. Familiar places might become distorted or threatening, and trusted friends might suddenly turn hostile. Or it could involve the implantation of thoughts and emotions that are not our own, creating confusion and inner conflict. Imagine dreaming that you are suddenly overwhelmed with anger towards someone you love, or a sudden urge to abandon your goals and pursue a completely different path. Where do these feelings come from? Are they truly your own, or are they being imposed upon you by an external force? The use of dream symbols and archetypes for manipulation is another disturbing possibility. Certain symbols, such as snakes, spiders, or shadows, are associated with fear and anxiety across cultures. Dream manipulators could exploit these universal symbols to evoke those emotions and control our actions within the dream. Imagine a dream where you are walking through a dark forest and you are suddenly surrounded by spiders. The spiders aren't necessarily attacking you, but their presence evokes a feeling of dread and paranoia. This fear could then be used to manipulate your decisions within the dream, leading you down a path you wouldn't normally choose. Certain archetypes, like the trickster or the shadow self, could also be used to sow discord and confusion, leading you to question your own motives and beliefs. What if those snakes aren't snakes at all? What if they are symbols being used to exploit you? Throughout history, there have been countless stories and legends about dream visitations and manipulations. From the incubi and succubi of medieval folklore to the shamanic traditions of dreamwalking, there's a pervasive belief that external forces can influence our dreams. While these stories are often dismissed as mere superstition, they raise intriguing questions about the nature of consciousness and the potential for interaction between different realms of existence. Consider the ancient practice of dream incubation, where people would sleep in sacred places, hoping to receive guidance or healing from deities or spirits. Is it possible that these practices were not just about seeking divine intervention, but also about protecting oneself from unwanted influences? But it isn't just ancient cultures that have explored this. It's worth noting that declassified government programs have explored the potential of utilizing the subconscious mind, including manipulation tactics. While the technology of the past may not be as advanced as what could exist today, these programs still serve as a chilling reminder of the potential for abuse. These programs show us the human mind can be a target. We've explored the disturbing possibility that our dreams can be manipulated by external forces, using techniques like dreamjacking and symbolic manipulation. If our minds are so vulnerable during sleep, how can we possibly protect ourselves? Is there a way to take back the night and reclaim control of our dreamscapes? One of the most effective strategies for dream defense is to strengthen our mental and energetic boundaries. Before going to sleep, visualize a protective shield of light surrounding you, deflecting any negative energies or unwanted influences. Set the intention that you will only have positive and empowering dream experiences. This act of visualization and intention setting can create a powerful energetic barrier, making it more difficult for external forces to penetrate your dreamscape. Think of it like putting up a "Do Not Disturb" sign on your mind, signaling to the universe that you are not available for manipulation. But how do you reinforce that intention while you're already asleep? Practicing lucid dreaming techniques is another crucial step, in reclaiming control of our dreams. By becoming aware that you are dreaming, you can take control of the dream scenario and resist any unwanted influences. Lucid dreaming allows you to rewrite the script, change the characters, and create a safe and empowering dream environment. If you sense a negative presence or manipulative force in your dream, you can assert your will and command it to leave. You are the director of your own dream movie, and you have the power to change the scene. The key is consistency. By practicing lucid dreaming techniques regularly, you can strengthen your awareness and control, making it more difficult for external forces to manipulate your dreams. Cultivating self-awareness and critical thinking is also essential for dream defense. In waking life, we are constantly bombarded with information and influences, and it's easy to become complacent and accept things at face value. But in our dreams, this complacency can be even more dangerous. We need to cultivate a habit of questioning our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, both in waking life and in our dreams. Are they truly our own, or are they being influenced by external forces? This critical thinking skill is your first line of defense. To take control of this skill, keep a dream journal. Analyze your dreams for recurring symbols, themes, and emotions. Explore your shadow self, the hidden aspects of your personality that you may be repressing or denying. By integrating your shadow self, you can become more whole and less vulnerable to manipulation. Shadow work is essential to reclaim control. We've uncovered the potential for dream manipulation and explored actionable strategies for dream defense. Now that we know the threat exists and we have tools to protect ourselves, what's the next step? The key is to remember this isn't the end, but just the beginning of our journey. Now that we've explored the potential threats and strategies for dream defense, it's time to go deeper. How can we not only protect ourselves from manipulation, but also reclaim control over our subconscious minds and create a more fulfilling and empowering sleep experience? There are different ways to approach this reclamation. There are actions to be taken and intentions to be set. But here's the truth. You have the power within you to take back your subconscious. What if you could do more than just protect yourself? What if you could claim full control? In our next video, we'll delve into specific actions that can be done, such as setting intentions and repeating affirmations. We will further elaborate that there are different actions and they each have a purpose. Get ready to unlock the true potential of your subconscious and create a dream life that is truly your own. Can you truly influence the silent world of your subconscious, or is it merely a realm of chaos beyond your control? What if you could actively shape your dreams, turning them from a stage for manipulation into a sanctuary of self-discovery? The truth is, your subconscious is not an unyielding force, but a garden waiting to be cultivated. Many believe the subconscious to be an autonomous entity, a mysterious force operating beyond the reach of your conscious will. But what if that belief is a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you from realizing your true potential? While it's true that the subconscious operates outside of your immediate awareness, it's not beyond influence. Think of it like a vast ocean. The surface may seem chaotic and unpredictable, but beneath the waves lies a powerful current that can be harnessed and directed. The key is to understand the tools at your disposal. One of the most effective ways to influence your subconscious is through intention setting and positive affirmations. These practices, when consistently applied, can reshape your neural pathways, reprogramming negative patterns and opening you to new possibilities. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's neuroscience. Every thought you have creates a physical connection in your brain. The more you repeat a thought, the stronger that connection becomes. Intention setting and affirmations are like mental exercises, strengthening the neural pathways associated with positive beliefs and desires. Consider the power of I am affirmations. These simple statements, when repeated with conviction, can have a profound impact on your self-perception and your reality. I am worthy. I am capable. I am loved. These affirmations, when spoken aloud, act as seeds planted in the fertile ground of your subconscious. The key, however, lies in consistency and emotional resonance. Simply reciting affirmations mechanically won't produce results. You must feel the truth of these statements in your heart, allowing them to permeate your being. Studies have shown that affirmations are most effective when practiced in front of a mirror, speaking directly to your reflection. This act of self-acknowledgement reinforces the message, creating a powerful feedback loop between your conscious and subconscious mind. But can intentions and affirmations truly reprogram your mind while you sleep? Can they act as a shield against external influences, protecting you from manipulation? And are there particular affirmations that are more effective for counteracting these influences? These are questions that demand exploration. Think about it. If you can reprogram your mind while awake, why not while you sleep? While sleeping is a vulnerable time, it is also a state of openness. The subconscious is always listening. But is it always you who is speaking? If your dreams are being manipulated, how would you even know? How can you discern between your own subconscious thoughts and external influences? The answer lies in becoming a conscious observer of your dreamscape, and there's no better tool for this than dream journaling. Dream journaling is more than just recording the bizarre events of your nightly adventures. It's a powerful method for understanding the language of your subconscious, identifying patterns, and detecting anomalies that might indicate dream manipulation. Think of your dream journal as a detective's notebook, where you meticulously document the clues that reveal the hidden truth. Over time, you'll begin to notice recurring themes, symbols, and emotions in your dreams. These patterns are your subconscious trying to communicate with you, offering insights into your deepest fears, desires, and unresolved issues. But here's the crucial point. A dream journal isn't just for understanding your dreams. It's for identifying when something is amiss. Imagine this. You wake up from a dream where your family members were acting strangely, their faces distorted, their words laced with malice. You were in a place you've never seen before, a twisted version of your childhood home. In the dream, you felt trapped, helpless, and overwhelmed with a sense of dread. Now, without a dream journal, you might dismiss this as just a bad dream, a random jumble of images and emotions. But if you've been consistently journaling your dreams, you'll have a baseline to compare this experience against. You'll be able to spot the red flags, the unfamiliar setting, the distorted faces, the overwhelming sense of dread. These anomalies are like flashing warning signs, alerting you to the possibility of dream manipulation. But how do you ensure that you're not just dreaming these signs in the first place? Reality checks are the answer. Reality checks are simple actions you perform throughout the day to test whether you're awake or dreaming. These checks can be as simple as looking at a clock twice in a row to see if the time changes, trying to push your finger through your palm, or attempting to float in the air. The goal is to make these checks a habit, so that you perform them both in waking life and in your dreams. But here's the thing. Simply going through the motions of a reality check isn't enough. You must be present, fully engaged in the act of questioning your reality. If you check a clock and immediately move on, your brain will process the check as normal, and you may not even catch the anomaly. The key is to cultivate a state of mindful awareness, constantly questioning your perceptions and challenging your assumptions about reality. Think about it. How often do you really question what you perceive? Do you simply accept your reality at face value, or do you actively test its boundaries? Consistency with journaling and reality checks is paramount for spotting irregularities and defending against dream manipulation. If you neglect these practices, you leave yourself vulnerable to subtle influences that can erode your mental autonomy. Imagine someone you love trying to harm you in your dream and succeeding because you're not aware that you're dreaming. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It's a real possibility. Had this person been diligent with reality checks and dream journaling, they might have realized they were dreaming and thwarted the attack. The truth is, your dreams are a battlefield, and your mind is the prize. Are you prepared to defend it? Beyond intention, journaling, and reality, how can we safeguard ourselves in the dreamscape? What other tools are at our disposal to create a peaceful inner landscape, resistant to manipulation? The answer lies in emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to understand, manage, and respond to your emotions in a healthy and constructive way. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending that everything is okay. It's about developing a deeper awareness of your emotional landscape and learning to navigate it with skill and grace. Think of your emotions as weather patterns within your inner world. Sometimes the sun is shining and you feel joyful and content. Other times, storms rage and you're overwhelmed with anger, fear, or sadness. Emotional regulation is like learning to become a skilled meteorologist, able to predict and prepare for these emotional storms rather than being swept away by them. The key is to respond rather than react. Practicing mindfulness and meditation is a powerful way to cultivate emotional regulation. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without getting carried away by them. Meditation, in turn, is a tool to help you observe what is happening within. By practicing mindfulness, you can create space between yourself and your emotions, allowing you to respond with greater clarity and compassion. One of the most significant benefits of mindfulness is its ability to reduce stress. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, a hormone that can wreak havoc on your physical and mental health. Mindfulness helps you break free from the cycle of rumination, preventing your thoughts from spiraling into negativity. The more you think negatively, the more stress your body undergoes. Over time, this chronic stress can weaken your immune system, disrupt your sleep patterns, and make you more vulnerable to manipulation. But mindfulness is only part of the equation. To truly master emotional regulation, you must also delve into the depths of your shadow self. Shadow work is the process of exploring the hidden, repressed, and disowned aspects of your personality. These are the traits that you judge, fear, or reject in yourself and others. The shadow self isn't inherently evil or negative. It's simply the part of you that you haven't yet integrated into your conscious awareness. Think of it like a room in your house that you've kept locked for years, filled with forgotten memories and uncomfortable truths. Shadow work is like opening that door and shining a light on the darkness, allowing you to reclaim the power and wisdom that lies within. Shadow work might require the guidance of a trained therapist or counselor, or it can be a journey of self-discovery that you undertake on your own. It's best to start with the aspects you are aware of and then dive into what you are less aware of. The process isn't always easy, but it's essential for building a shield of awareness. By understanding your own triggers, vulnerabilities, and defense mechanisms, you make yourself less susceptible to external manipulation. When you know yourself intimately, you can see through the illusions and deceptions that others might try to project onto you. What if embracing your shadow isn't a sign of weakness, but the ultimate act of self-empowerment? By setting positive intentions, journaling your dreams, performing reality checks, practicing emotional regulation, and doing shadow work, you can strengthen your mental defenses, reclaim control of your subconscious mind, and create a more restful and empowering sleep experience. These steps will lead you to an awakened mind. But here's the thing, you're not just protecting yourself. You're unlocking a powerful source of wisdom and guidance. Think of your subconscious as a wise old friend, always there to offer insights, support, and direction. By building a relationship with your subconscious, you can learn to tap into this inner reservoir of knowledge, receiving the information you need to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and clarity. The key is to be open to receiving these messages, to trust your intuition, and to listen to the whispers of your soul. Do you truly trust yourself? The journey is not easy, but as you start taking these steps, you will find a sense of empowerment and control that you may have never felt before. But we're just scratching the surface. What if there were even more advanced techniques for not just controlling your subconscious, but controlling reality itself? The next video will take a closer look at maintaining the new relationship with your subconscious and taking even more control of your destiny. Get ready to step into your power. Is your subconscious mind truly an unknowable entity, a mysterious force operating beyond your grasp? What if instead it's a compass, a trusted guide capable of leading you away from danger and towards a richer, more authentic existence? The truth is, your subconscious is not a separate being, but an extension of yourself, a vast and powerful resource waiting to be tapped. Many perceive the subconscious as a chaotic realm, a jumbled mess of repressed memories and irrational impulses. But what if this perception is a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep you from accessing your inner wisdom? While it's true that the subconscious operates outside your conscious awareness, it's not beyond your reach. Think of it like a hidden library filled with countless books of knowledge and experience. The key is to learn how to read the language of your subconscious, to decipher its symbols and metaphors, and to use its guidance to navigate the complexities of life. After all, your subconscious has all the answers, or so some believe. Could it even hold the key to your destiny? The subconscious communicates through various channels: dreams, intuition, emotions, and even physical sensations. But can you truly learn to understand this language, and can it genuinely protect you from outside influences? The key is to recognize that these are not random signals, but coded messages from your inner self. Your dreams, for instance, are not merely bizarre sequences of events, but symbolic representations of your deepest fears, desires, and unresolved conflicts. Your intuition is not just a gut feeling, but a subtle whisper from your subconscious, guiding you towards the right path. And your emotions are not simply fleeting reactions, but powerful indicators of your internal state, revealing what resonates with your true self and what clashes with your authentic values. But here's the thing. If the subconscious has all the answers, can it also warn us about the potential for manipulation from the outside? If the subconscious is constantly communicating, how can we learn to recognize and interpret its whispers? How can we distinguish between genuine messages from our inner self and external influences that might be clouding our judgment? The answer lies in developing a deep and intimate relationship with your subconscious mind. Think of it like learning a new language. The more you practice, the more fluent you become. Your emotions are a direct line to your subconscious. When you feel a strong emotional reaction to something, pay attention. Ask yourself, what is this emotion telling me? What is the underlying belief or fear that's triggering this response? Gut feelings, those immediate and often inexplicable sensations, are another powerful form of subconscious communication. Trust your gut. It's often right. But what happens when outside influences try to mimic these signals? Dreams, however, offer a particularly rich and symbolic language for the subconscious to communicate. Recurring dreams, for instance, often point to unresolved issues or patterns that need to be addressed. Symbols within your dreams can provide clues about your inner world. A snake might represent transformation, water might symbolize emotions, and a dark room might signify hidden aspects of yourself. If the subconscious is trying to warn you about manipulation, what might that look like in a dream? Perhaps you see someone you trust suddenly acting strangely, or you find yourself in a situation that feels off, even though you can't quite put your finger on why. The key is familiarity. Here's where it gets interesting. By becoming intimately familiar with your own subconscious signals, you can start to detect anomalies, subtle deviations from your normal patterns that might indicate external interference. If your intuition suddenly feels clouded or distorted, or if you start having nightmares that are completely out of character, it's a sign that something might be amiss. Think of it like this. If someone were trying to imitate your handwriting, you would be able to spot the differences, even if they were subtle. The same principle applies to your subconscious signals. The more you know your own mind, the better equipped you are to detect when something is out of place. So, how can we actively build this relationship? So, how do we go about building this essential rapport with our subconscious minds? What specific exercises can we use to strengthen our connection with our inner selves? There are several techniques you can use. One powerful method is automatic writing. Grab a pen and paper, clear your mind, and simply allow your hand to write whatever comes to mind without censoring or judging. You might be surprised at what emerges. Active imagination is another effective technique. Close your eyes, visualize a scene or a symbol, and then interact with it as if it were real. Ask questions, explore the environment, and see what unfolds. Dream incubation involves focusing on a specific question or problem before you go to sleep, with the intention of receiving guidance in your dreams. When you wake up, immediately record your dreams and look for clues. Journaling is another incredible and important tool. By journaling, you're able to go back and see how you felt during certain scenarios. Think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt uneasy, but you couldn't quite explain why? Later, you realized that your intuition was right, and you had narrowly avoided a dangerous situation. By journaling these experiences, you can start to recognize the subtle signs that your subconscious is sending you, allowing you to make better decisions and avoid potential harm. Here's the truth. Interpreting subconscious messages isn't always easy. Dreams, intuitions, and emotions can be complex and multi-layered, often requiring careful analysis and reflection. When analyzing your dreams, don't take everything literally. Look for the underlying emotions and the overall message. Ask yourself, what is my subconscious trying to tell me? What patterns are emerging? Are there any recurring symbols or themes? By becoming a skilled interpreter of your own subconscious language, you can unlock a wealth of wisdom and guidance, leading you towards a more fulfilling and authentic life. You can use this info to avoid bad scenarios, or you can see that it was a good thing. Are you willing to make the time for a fulfilling life? We've explored the many ways we can build a strong connection with our subconscious mind, opening up a channel of communication that can guide us towards greater well-being and protect us from potential harm. But here's the thing. We live in an age of unprecedented technological advancement. Technology can also play a huge role on the other side of things. Now that you have a better understanding of the ways you can talk to your subconscious, we can get into how outside tech affects this relationship. How can we maintain this connection in a world that is increasingly saturated with technology? Is it possible for technology to interfere with our subconscious communication? And if so, how can we protect ourselves? What if technology can be used to manipulate the subconscious mind, planting suggestions, altering perceptions, and even controlling our thoughts and behaviors while we sleep? The methods that we're going to explore in the next video are ways to make sure you are communicating effectively, even when outside forces are trying to cause issues. It will be a more in-depth look at some of the things we've touched on in this video and methods to protect from those. Are you ready to safeguard your mind? If maintaining a relationship with your subconscious is like tending a garden, how do you prevent weeds from taking root? It's not enough to simply plant the seeds of intention. You must also actively defend your mental space from unwanted influences. Maintaining this relationship is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing practice that requires constant vigilance. Think of your subconscious as a garden that needs constant care. You wouldn't plant a garden and then abandon it, would you? You need to water it, weed it, and protect it from pests. Your subconscious is no different. If you neglect it, negative thoughts and external influences can creep in and take over. Abandon a garden, and the weeds will choke out the flowers. Similarly, neglecting your subconscious can allow negativity and manipulation to flourish. But how might someone attempt to influence this sacred relationship? While the idea of nefarious figures lurking in the shadows may seem like a far-fetched movie plot, subtler influences are far more pervasive. Consider the potential of AI-powered algorithms, constantly learning and adapting to our preferences, subtly shaping our thoughts and desires through targeted advertising and personalized content. What if these algorithms could be weaponized, used to implant suggestions or manipulate our emotions while we sleep? While the technology isn't quite there yet, the theoretical possibility is unsettling. It's far more probable that people you know may attempt to influence your subconscious, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Be that as it may, with external influences potentially trying to disrupt our connection to our subconscious mind. How can we fortify our mental defenses and maintain an open channel of communication? What steps can one take to recognize an attempt at disruption, and what can be done to counter the attempt? What steps can be taken to ensure there is less of a chance for disruption? One of the first signs of external influence is a persistent sense of unease or paranoia. This isn't to say that every fleeting moment of anxiety is evidence of manipulation, but rather a consistent feeling that something is off, a nagging sense that your thoughts and emotions are not entirely your own. Think of it as a subtle alarm bell warning you of potential danger. It's a gut feeling that can't be easily dismissed. It is important to note that both paranoia and uneasiness can be signs of mental illness, so consulting with a professional is crucial. Dreams can also be an indicator. Pay close attention to any abnormalities, any departures from your usual dream landscape. Are your dreams suddenly more vivid, more disturbing, or more illogical than usual? Are you encountering recurring figures or scenarios that seem out of place? While a single unusual dream is unlikely to be cause for alarm, a persistent pattern of strange or unsettling dreams could be a sign that someone or something is attempting to influence your subconscious mind. However, this can also mean that your subconscious is trying to break through and help you. Also, people who normally don't appear might all of a sudden be recurring. Expand on how this can also be a sign of manipulation, but it can also be a breakthrough. Have you ever experienced a sudden, inexplicable shift in your emotions or beliefs? Have you ever found yourself feeling intensely angry or depressed for no apparent reason? Have you ever adopted a strong opinion on a topic you previously had no interest in? This could be a sign of external influence. If you are typically an optimistic person, you may be feeling pessimistic for no reason. Or if you never had an opinion on climate change, all of a sudden you may have very strong feelings. Before you jump to conclusions, always remember that shifts in emotion may be entirely natural. The key lies in strengthening your mental and energetic boundaries. Just as a physical fortress protects you from external threats, strong mental defenses can shield you from unwanted influences. So, how can you build these defenses? What specific techniques can you use to fortify your mind and protect your subconscious? The key is to engage in practices that cultivate self-awareness, strengthen your connection to your inner self, and create a protective barrier around your mind. One powerful technique is regular meditation and mindfulness. By quieting the mind and focusing on the present moment, you can become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, making it easier to detect any external influences that might be clouding your judgment. Visualization exercises can also be incredibly effective. Imagine yourself surrounded by a shield of light, deflecting any negative energy or unwanted thoughts. The use of crystals or talismans can be a useful reminder of your intent, a visual symbol of your commitment to protecting your mental space. Also, performing cleansing rituals can help ward off negative energy. Self-compassion and forgiveness are important. Releasing negative emotions and practicing self-acceptance can make us less vulnerable to external manipulation. When we hold onto resentment, guilt, or self-criticism, we create openings for external influences to exploit our weaknesses. By practicing self-compassion and forgiveness, we heal those wounds and strengthen our mental defenses. When we have a clear sense of right and wrong, we are less likely to be swayed by manipulative forces. We must always strive to act with integrity, compassion, and respect for others, even in the face of adversity. But here's where it gets interesting. What happens when these mental defenses are tested? How can we ensure that our minds remain our own, even in the face of intense pressure or sophisticated manipulation tactics? Now that we've explored the various ways we can fortify our mental defenses to protect our connection to our subconscious mind, this is not a one-time fix, but a lifelong journey of self-discovery, growth, and empowerment. When we awaken to the truth of our own power and potential, we become guardians of our mental space, fiercely defending our thoughts, emotions, and dreams from unwanted influences. We become conscious creators of our own reality, and it begins with awareness. The more self-aware you become, the easier it is to detect when something is amiss. You can also think of the awakened mind as a guardian of our mental space. Now that we've established the foundation for protecting our minds, let's delve into the more complex techniques. The next video will focus on more esoteric practices that are difficult and are only meant for advanced practitioners. As you continue on your path, take a moment to celebrate and express gratitude. The journey never ends, and it is important to be thankful. What if everything you've been told about protecting your sleep is only scratching the surface? It's easy to assume that a comfortable mattress, a dark room, and a relaxing bedtime routine are all you need to ensure a good night's rest. But what about the more advanced, esoteric practices that some practitioners explore during sleep? Understand this. These are not meant for beginners, and dabbling without knowledge can lead to unforeseen consequences. There are rituals to try, energies to explore, and dimensions to visit, but initiating them without knowing what you are doing is like walking into a minefield blindfolded. You might get yourself into a lot of trouble. And make no mistake, sleep can have a lot of dangers and should be taken seriously. It is a vulnerable state, and as you continue to watch, note that this content is meant for informational purposes only and is not meant for practice. For advanced practitioners, is there a way to explore the dream world for more knowledge or even power? And even if there is it safe? Throughout history, various esoteric traditions have explored the subconscious in ways that go far beyond simple dream interpretation. Practices like astral projection, soul walking, and remote viewing have been used to influence the dreamscape and potentially interact with other realms. Consider the rich history of astral projection, for example. Its origins can be traced back to ancient shamanic practices, where individuals would enter altered states of consciousness to journey to other worlds and communicate with spirits. This evolved through various mystery schools and spiritual traditions, each with its own unique techniques and interpretations. In ancient cultures, dream incubation involved sleeping in temples to receive guidance from the gods. Individuals would prepare themselves through fasting, prayer, and ritual purification, believing that the dream state offered a direct connection to the divine. But here's the thing. Ancient texts also warn of the dangers that can arise during these practices, such as getting lost in other realms or encountering hostile entities. The famous Hermetic text, the Kybalion, implies that there are dangers of unbalancing oneself with esoteric practice. It is often interpreted that the imbalance can occur from outside interference, but the truth is that the imbalance is more likely to occur by dabbling in things you don't understand. Let's take a look at some advanced esoteric techniques that some practitioners have used, but remember that these are extremely dangerous and should not be attempted without proper guidance and a deep understanding of yourself. Soul walking, for instance, involves projecting your consciousness into another person's body, while astral projection allows you to travel outside your physical form. Remote viewing enables you to perceive distant locations or events. The risks are significant. Some practitioners may never fully return from these journeys, becoming lost in other realms or trapped in a perpetual state of disorientation. Others may bring home unwanted energies or entities, which can then manifest as negative influences in their waking lives. But that's not all. These practices can also disrupt your sleep patterns, leading to insomnia, nightmares, and even sleep paralysis. Think about it. Doing it wrong can cause sleep paralysis, and those sleep paralysis entities may haunt you even when awake, even when you weren't initially engaging in the practices. Here's the critical point. Before engaging in any of these practices, it's essential to understand yourself completely. You need to know what triggers you, what your sensitivities are, and what your limits are. Without this self-awareness, you become vulnerable to manipulation. This is where Endao work comes in. Shadow work is the process of exploring and integrating the hidden, repressed aspects of your personality. It involves confronting your fears, insecurities, and negative patterns of behavior. By understanding your shadow self, you become less susceptible to external influences and more resilient in the face of adversity. If you haven't dealt with your inner demons, how do you expect to protect yourself from external ones? What makes you tick? What are your deepest, darkest fears? And what will you do when pushed to your limit? All of this shadow work must be looked at before trying to explore esoteric techniques. We've explored the exciting possibilities that advanced dream exploration holds, from gaining insights into the hidden depths of our minds to connecting with other realms of existence. But we've also emphasized the potential dangers and the need to approach these practices with respect, caution, and a strong foundation of self-awareness. The techniques we mentioned in this video are not meant for everyone, or even most people. You need to understand that not everything is meant for everyone. It's important to work with a qualified practitioner who understands the energies you may come into contact with, but finding someone qualified can be difficult. Now that we've talked about how you may not want to dive into the deep end of these esoteric practices, are there things we can do to take control and become more aware, that are safe? Those will be discussed in the next video. What if the key to protecting your mind isn't about elaborate rituals performed only as you drift off to sleep? Many believe that simply following the standard sleep hygiene advice is enough, but the truth is, our minds are vulnerable throughout the day, not just when we close our eyes. True protection lies in cultivating a state of continuous awareness, weaving mindful practices into the fabric of our everyday lives. We often compartmentalize our spiritual practices, viewing them as separate from our work, our relationships, and our daily routines. The truth is that to truly safeguard our minds, we must bring awareness into every moment, transforming ordinary activities into opportunities for self-reflection and empowerment. Think about it. You might spend 30 minutes meditating before bed, but what about the other 15.5 hours of your waking day? Are you truly present and aware during those moments? Or are you simply going through the motions on autopilot, susceptible to external influences and negative thought patterns? How can we transform ordinary activities into opportunities for cultivating awareness and strengthening our connection to our subconscious minds, ultimately leading to a more protected and empowering sleep experience? So, how can we transform these mundane tasks into a process to feed our subconscious? Take walking, for example. Most of us simply walk to get from point A to point B, often lost in thought or distracted by our phones. But what if we transformed walking into a moving meditation? Imagine feeling the ground beneath your feet with each step, noticing the subtle shifts in your body's weight and balance. Pay attention to the sensations in your muscles and joints, the rhythm of your breath, and the sights, sounds, and smells around you. Engage your senses, feel your body, and embrace your surroundings. You can apply this same principle to eating. Instead of mindlessly scarfing down your food, take a moment to appreciate the colors, textures, and aromas on your plate. Savor each bite, paying attention to the flavors and sensations in your mouth. Chew slowly and deliberately, and notice how your body responds to the nourishment you're providing it. And then, consider talking and listening. How often do we truly listen to others, without interrupting, judging, or planning our response? What if we approached every conversation as an opportunity to connect with another human being, to understand their perspective, and to offer our support and compassion? To truly listen is to be present, and to be present is the ultimate meditation. But here's the thing, it's not just about individual practices. The strength of our relationships and the quality of our social connections also play a crucial role in protecting our minds from negative influences. Strong, supportive relationships provide a buffer against stress, anxiety, and loneliness, creating a sense of belonging and connection that can fortify our mental defenses. The truth is that touch is a key component. Physical touch releases oxytocin, which in turn reduces stress hormones. But beyond the hormonal and more surface-level effects of relationships, the deeper the bonds, the harder they are to break. The more love that exists in our lives, the less room therein for negativity to seep in. Imagine a society built on kindness, empathy, and mutual support, where people are actively engaged in each other's well-being. Such a society would be far less vulnerable to manipulation and control. Consider how awareness and a culture of active caring can be a collective defense. Of course, maintaining awareness in our daily lives is not always easy. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with distractions, from technology to social pressures. Stress, anxiety, and negative emotions can also cloud our minds and make it difficult to access our inner wisdom. But here's the thing: obstacles can be overcome. When you feel overwhelmed by distractions, take a few deep breaths and gently redirect your attention back to the present moment. Practice setting boundaries to limit your exposure to technology and negative influences. Cultivate self-compassion and forgiveness to release negative emotions and create a more peaceful inner landscape. The key is to remember that it's a practice, not a perfection. And the practice always starts with self-compassion. We all make mistakes and face challenges in life. It's important to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding rather than self-criticism. When we stumble, we can learn from our experiences and move forward with greater wisdom and strength. Think about it. Would you berate a child for falling while learning to walk? Of course not. You would offer encouragement and support. We should extend that same compassion to ourselves. This is a journey, and the more self-compassion you have, the longer you will be able to continue down the path. We've explored the many ways we can integrate awareness into our daily lives, creating a strong foundation for protecting our minds during sleep and beyond. By cultivating presence, intention, and self-compassion, we can transform ordinary activities into opportunities for growth and empowerment. By understanding your subconscious, practicing these techniques, and actively working to protect your mind, you can take control of your life and become more aware of the influences that might be around you. The key is to remember that it's an ongoing process, a continuous journey of self-discovery and empowerment. What we must understand is that by combining everything we've discussed in the series and actively making moves toward a more aware lifestyle, we can achieve a more protected mind. But we're just scratching the surface. In the next video, we will summarize everything we've talked about in the series and give clear, actionable steps on how to protect your sleep and your mind from unwanted influences. We will also discuss where to go next with these techniques and ideas. Don't go anywhere. The path forward is calling. We've emphasized the importance of cultivating awareness in your daily life, of transforming mundane activities into opportunities for mindfulness. But is that enough? Is simply being aware as you walk, eat, and interact truly sufficient to protect your mind, especially when you close your eyes and enter the realm of sleep? Think about it. We've explored sleep paralysis as a potential interdimensional gateway, lucid dreaming as a double-edged sword, nightmares as subconscious warnings, and sleep as a vulnerable state, susceptible to external influences. We've delved into quantum entanglement, the subconscious reality, the potential impact of technology, and the hidden agendas of the archons. We've talked about false awakenings, dream manipulation, and the power of intentions and affirmations. We've covered dream journaling, emotional regulation, and a range of esoteric practices. Do these seemingly disparate pieces of information only relate to the hours you spend asleep, or do they bleed into your waking life, subtly shaping your perceptions, influencing your decisions, and ultimately dictating your reality? How can we transform this fragmented knowledge into a cohesive strategy for safeguarding our minds, reclaiming our sleep, and living more empowered lives? Now that you've been exposed to these concepts, you have a choice. You can dismiss them as mere theories, interesting ideas with no practical application. Or you can start to actively engage with them, to experiment with the techniques we've discussed, and to reclaim control over your subconscious mind. Remember the power of setting positive intentions before sleep, as we talked about earlier. Revisit the reality check exercises we explored and begin to integrate them into your daily routine. Practice cultivating emotional regulation and notice how your reactions to stress and anxiety shift. Create a safe and sacred sleep environment free from distractions and negative energy. And if you choose to explore esoteric practices, do so with caution, discernment, and a strong connection to your intuition. What impact should you expect from these practices, and what should you do to continue on this path of self-discovery? What protective methods are vital to implement? A consistent sleep routine is paramount. Creating a mental shield through visualization is an incredibly useful tool. Not looking at screens an hour before bed is extremely important. But perhaps most crucially, understanding which emotions trigger certain behaviors is key to strengthening your mental shield. Negative emotions like fear, anger, and resentment can weaken your defenses, making you more susceptible to external influences. Positive emotions like love, gratitude, and compassion, on the other hand, can fortify your mind and create a powerful barrier against unwanted intrusions. And while we're on the topic of influence, let's not forget the potential impact of past government projects. Think about MK Ultra, for example, and the documented attempts to control and manipulate the human mind. While we can only speculate about the extent to which such programs continue to operate today, it's reasonable to assume that the technologies and techniques explored in the past have only become more sophisticated and advanced. Could these experiments have inspired some of the things we're seeing today? And could they have found more success? Or could they still be a failed concept? By implementing these protective techniques, you actively start to shift your life. Some changes may be subtle, barely perceptible at first. You might notice a slight shift in your dream recall or a greater sense of calm as you drift off to sleep. Other changes may be more dramatic, manifesting as synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, or a newfound sense of clarity and purpose. Remember, this is a lifelong journey, not a destination. There will be challenges and setbacks along the way, moments of doubt and discouragement. But with persistence, self-compassion, and a willingness to learn, you can unlock the full potential of your subconscious mind and create a life that is truly your own. And as you take control and awaken to the hidden dimensions of reality, you'll find that abundance flows more freely into your life. Money, relationships, and spirituality will all flourish as the fog of manipulation begins to dissipate. When the fog is cleared, it becomes easier to see opportunities that were previously hidden, to walk away from toxic situations that were once tolerated, and to move toward the things that truly make you happy. It's easier to spot the patterns and navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity and confidence. Imagine, for a moment, how much easier it would be to manifest your dreams if you weren't constantly battling against subconscious programming and external influences. The esoteric and the scientific can work together. There needs to be an exploration of the self. The path isn't easy, but in the end, it is worth it. The deeper you delve into the mysteries of consciousness, the more you realize that the true power lies within you. It's not about relying on external forces or seeking validation from others. It's about cultivating your inner strength, trusting your intuition, and embracing the infinite potential that resides within your own mind. At the very least, you now understand the power you possess. You have a better idea about what you're working towards and the control you have over your sleep and your life. It just takes time, effort, and self-compassion to cultivate these practices and integrate them into your daily routine. But that's not all. There's one final piece of the puzzle, one ultimate thing you can do with all this knowledge. What is the big, overall arc of this journey? What is the final step you can take? That's what we'll be exploring in the next video. It may not happen today or tomorrow. It may happen a year from now. But the steps you take will ultimately lead to a life that's your own. It is a life that you can say you created, and that's all that matters. It's important to be aware and know where your heart is. Remember that everything you've learned, every technique you've practiced, every challenge you've overcome has been leading you to this final moment of awakening, to this realization of your true potential. The exploration will lead to a certain peace. Don't go anywhere. As we reach the end of this unsettling journey into the depths of consciousness during sleep, a crucial question remains. What do we do with this newfound awareness? Are we simply to acknowledge the potential dangers and vulnerabilities, or can we actively reclaim our minds and create a more empowered sleep experience? Bringing all of this together, it's time to address the core truth we've uncovered, that our minds are not fully our own during sleep, leaving us susceptible to manipulation by external forces, whether they are energetic entities, technological influences, or even the ghosts of past government programs. What steps can you take to make sure that you are protecting yourself? But here's the thing. Awareness of these potential vulnerabilities is the first, and arguably most important, step towards protecting ourselves. By understanding the techniques and methods that could be used to influence our minds during sleep, we can take proactive measures to reclaim our mental autonomy. Setting intentions before sleep, diligently practicing reality checks throughout the day, and consciously strengthening our relationship with our subconscious mind become not just esoteric practices, but essential tools for self-defense. The increased amount of awareness gained helps to prevent nefarious energies from stepping in. What could you do now that you are more aware? This exploration of consciousness during sleep extends far beyond the realm of personal well-being. The fight for control over our minds, both during waking and sleeping hours, is inextricably linked to a larger struggle for individual sovereignty and freedom of thought. Gnostic texts speak of external entities seeking to control humanity, and it's very possible that these influences are only increasing in our technologically advanced age. Could the suppression of this information be connected to larger societal control mechanisms? Could this be part of the reason why some of this information has been actively suppressed or dismissed as mere conspiracy theory? It's time to ask these questions. Despite the unsettling nature of the information we've explored, it's vital to remember that we are not powerless. We are not simply puppets in some cosmic drama at the whims of nefarious entities or shadowy organizations. By cultivating awareness, strengthening our mental defenses, and reclaiming control over our subconscious minds, we can protect ourselves from external influences and create a more restful and empowering sleep experience. Always remember that it is your choice. Reclaim your mind. Reclaim your power. So, what will the future of sleep look like? Will we see the rise of sophisticated dream manipulation technologies, or will we awaken to the true potential of our subconscious minds and create a more conscious and empowering sleep experience for all? Will we learn to navigate the dream world with skill and confidence, or will we succumb to fear and manipulation? How can the tools we've discussed be implemented effectively to explore the dream world without fear, unlocking its potential for personal growth, healing, and transformation? Where will this lead in the near and distant future? Take some time this week to reflect on your own sleep experiences and to experiment with the techniques and strategies we've presented in this series of videos. Pay close attention to your dreams, your emotions, and your thought patterns. Experiment with setting intentions before sleep, practice reality checks throughout the day, and cultivate a deeper connection to your subconscious mind. No need to subscribe, comment, or like unless you feel compelled to do so. The most important action you can take is to look within and to begin the journey of self-discovery and empowerment that lies before you. It starts by making small changes. The power to protect your mind, reclaim your sleep, and ultimately create your own reality lies within you. Embrace your awareness, trust your intuition, and create a life filled with peace, purpose, and freedom. The new world that's been opened to you is now yours to embrace.